on something you said about me.
Oh, I'm assuming it's the one in the comment where I said that you played the second season on Ascent, because that was
Oh,
Prolander.
I didn't even know that. I
Oh.
believed you when you said that. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I guess I did. I remember playing something on Ascent. I don't remember what it was.
It was Prolander, yeah.
It was Prolander. Okay. No, I wanted to make a correction on something you said. You said you called me a competitive player.
I meant like Highlander.
Well, even that, I'm not.
Really?
I don't. So it's true in the sense that I am a competitive. Like I have a competitive drive.
Yeah.
I like to try and improve myself at TF2. I like encourage people to also challenge themselves in that way. But I consider myself an ex-competitive player, like far removed. Like I haven't played on a competitive TF2 team for probably more than 5 years at this point, even semi-seriously. And like even longer ago, I played like to the point where I was like trying to be better at competitive TF2.
I can understand that.
So and that's something that I hear a lot, and it doesn't really upset me, but I think that it's just like a relic of like an older era of my life that I think people still assume that I am. But I'm just like, I'm 100% just a pubber. I don't play competitive.
I know you can't
I don't
hear it,
really
but I'm
like
nodding.
follow. Okay, I don't really follow competitive anymore. But I am like, I do try and get better at the game. There's like this really unfortunate language issue in the TF2 community when it comes to the word competitive, and I don't really know how to deal with that. But I mean, eventually I would like to put my thoughts about quote unquote competitive TF2 into a video at some point. But I think a big thing that I would like to touch on is that people seem to think that being a competitive player and playing competitive TF2 are like the same thing, but they're not at all. And
I agree.
It makes it harder to talk about it.
There's a difference between wanting to win in a pub and wanting to play 6v6.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up before we talk about
you're good.
The competitive scene.
Honestly, I think that is good as in terms of insight, because obviously Broccoli and I have played 6v6. I mean, I have like 6 seasons of like,
it's all very fresh in your mind.
Yeah. And so like, but the thing is like for someone who is, say, someone who likes to play like as hard as they can in a pub versus people who have already interacted or at least, it's like for me, I'm an admin for or a moderator for RGL, and I do videos for them, right? So like I'm like entrenched into the scene. So like the question is like what is the difference between the mindset of someone who is within the scene and someone who is outside but is like basically quote unquote like our target audience essentially?
And I think a relevant point to be made about when you're saying like the word competitive is kind of confused with TF2. I think it's also worth noting that there's a difference between in-game competitive and league competitive, which I've had people comment on my videos who aren't even aware that when I'm referring to competitive, I'm talking about like RGL or ETF2L or something like that. Where
that's a very good point. Yeah, there's like 3 different versions of the word competitive when you're talking about TF2 competitive, and it's something that I eventually would like to bring up. But man, that is like a whole can of worms that I know is going to be so hard to dissect, and it's like kind of like it's probably going to have the same scope as like one of my really long, heavily edited videos. So it's like kind of this big behemoth that I'm like, oh, I got to tackle that eventually someday.
I know exactly what you mean. That's how I'm sitting with the script for my like how to play engineer in 6's video.